Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got one new banner and one returning banner, so I'm making a comparison video to help you choose more easily. The two banners today are Queen Hippolyta and Sinestro. Both of these heroes are strong in their own unique ways, which can make it a bit tricky to pick one. Personally, I probably won't be pulling either because I already used up all my anvils on Deathstroke. Since I've already made review videos for both of them, in this video I'll focus more on their best team combinations, how to counter their weaknesses, and other useful tips to keep things fresh. If you haven't fully understood their kits yet, I'll leave the links to both of their review videos in the comment section below. Before we start, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss my next videos. All right, let's get started. First, let's talk about Queen Hippolyta. She's a true guardian, using her shield to protect all her teammates and, of course, taking the incoming damage for them. Right now, she's the only hero who generates a shield based on physical defense instead of HP, so make sure to build her with the highest physical defense possible. Since her strength is focused on physical defense, she's naturally weak against enemies that deal spiritual damage. That means she can get taken down pretty early in battle. So even though she's a guardian, it's actually better not to place her in the front line. Her ultimate is really strong because it can protect the entire team, but keep in mind she will absorb the damage instead of her allies. If her build is too weak, she might be knocked out very early, sometimes even before the enemy uses their ultimate. She also has a skill 4 that boosts energy at the start of the battle, which means she'll usually use her ultimate very early. Fun fact, she was designed alongside Swamp Thing to counter Legion of Doom teams and assassins, who are currently a big threat to many lineups. If you're running a Superman family team, she's a perfect fit. She'll risk her life to protect your team, and Crypto will heal her, making your lineup much more durable. She also works well in Amazon teams. With a new Amazon hero coming soon, we're not sure how strong she'll be yet, but the two current Amazons, Wonder Woman and Queen Hippolyta, are both great at surviving and keeping their team alive. If you're worried about Nightwing's burst damage, Hippolyta is a great pick. If you're scared of Constantine's AoE damage, she's also a good counter. To get the most out of her, you should pair her with strong healers like Mara or Raven. They'll help her recover quickly so she can stay alive longer and continue protecting the team. All right, now let's talk about Sinestro. If you're planning to build a Legion of Doom team, then Sinestro is a must pull. He's extremely strong when it comes to dealing spiritual damage, and the best part is he can use his ultimate very fast and many times before the enemy even gets a chance to use theirs. However, if you're like me and already spent all your anvils on Deathstroke, you'll probably have to wait 14 days to see how many anvils you can save up before deciding whether to invest in Sinestro or keep them for a limited hero with more stars. Personally, I'm saving for Constantine, since after Sinestro, it's Zatanna and then Constantine, so I've got about a month and a half to save up. Even if you're not playing Legion of Doom, Sinestro is still a great choice because he fits well with many different team comps. If you pair him with Lex Luthor and the Flash, you can trigger multiple ultimates so fast that your opponent won't have time to react. Add in two crowd control heroes like Wonder Woman and Scarecrow, and your enemy will be in serious trouble. Here's a key fact. Both Sinestro and Deathstroke have very high damage output, but their targeting works differently. Deathstroke attacks the enemy with the highest attack, while Sinestro only targets the enemy he's currently focusing on. That's why I personally rate Deathstroke a bit higher. Before, Sinestro's skill used to hit random enemies, which often landed on high-priority targets, making him extremely popular. But after the recent fix, his skill only hits his current target, which often ends up being a tank. And since tanks are hard to take down early, it can put his team in a dangerous position. The ways to counter when facing a team with Sinestro in particular, and the Legion of Doom team in general, are to use Deathstroke or other assassins to defeat him early, use Hippolyta to protect teammates because both of them gain energy at the same rate, so Hippolyta's protection will happen earlier than Sinestro's attack. Or use tankers that can survive well against spiritual damage like Bane, Shazam, who has Force to increase spiritual defense, Scarecrow, who can increase spiritual defense for the Arkham side, Red Robin, who reduces damage taken based on crit rate, or Starfire, who has a skill to reduce spiritual damage received. Many people will ask why there's no Wonder Woman and Dr. Fate because they don't have the ability to endure spiritual attacks. They only create shields to partially withstand when facing Sinestro, the hero who has the highest spiritual damage among all heroes at the moment. They can't survive, just like when facing Constantine and Joker. Their damage isn't too big, but it spreads, so I usually rate them higher than Sinestro when I rank, but in terms of damage, they are not as strong as Sinestro. In my opinion, if you want a good damage combination, then you should choose Sinestro and Joker because one will defeat the enemy as quickly as possible, and the other needs an enemy to be defeated as soon as possible to spread Joker Venom. Once Joker Venom spreads, the enemy team will almost not be able to survive. All right, now we will move on to the three heroes with the highest drop rates in their two banners. First will be the Queen Hippolyta banner. Among these three heroes, I only value Two-Face because at least he can support his teammates with spiritual damage, and his faction, Arkham, is also one of the strongest factions in the game right now. The other two have weaker factions and are quite hard to combine with other teams. Since they're both damage dealers, I personally think it's better to choose Mythic Limited damage dealers instead. Speaking of Deadshot, I used to say that his skill 4 was useless, but one of my subscribers reminded me that in higher level tournaments, there are players with high dodge rates, so Deadshot's accuracy boost can actually give a nice advantage. I think that's pretty solid. What I like most is his ability to reduce enemy healing, but the only downside is that his skill is single target. Now let's move on to Sinestro's banner. Lex Luthor is a very strong hero, both in terms of dealing damage and supporting his teammates, because he can increase energy for Legion of Doom allies at the start of the battle, allowing them to use their ultimates faster. Especially when paired with Sinestro, this duo becomes extremely powerful. Since Sinestro has a self-energy boosting skill, he can even use his ultimate twice right at the start of the match, thanks to the team's energy acceleration. In short, Lex Luthor is a must-have in a Legion of Doom team. I really regret not having enough anvils. If I did, I'd invest in this banner, and my Legion of Doom team would be insanely strong. The other two heroes in this banner are also strong, especially in countering big damage dealers like Sinestro or Joker. They can reduce enemy accuracy, lower attack power, and reduce damage taken for their team, so they're definitely worth trying. The only downside is that they need a lot of stars to be truly effective. Like, Lex Luthor also benefits from more stars to fully support the team, but he can still be useful even with fewer stars, so I rate him very highly. In general, the Legion of Doom is quite vulnerable to Black Canary because her skill 1 reduces accuracy, making their attacks miss more often. Her skill 2 reduces attack power, lowering their damage output, and her ultimate silences enemies, preventing them from using their skills. However, to fully benefit from the silence effect, you need at least one red star, because at white or blue star levels, the silence duration is almost useless. At this point, you probably already know which banner you should choose. Hippolyta is the better pick if you need someone to protect your entire team and increase survivability. Sinestro is the choice if you're focusing on Legion of Doom, or if you need a very strong spiritual damage dealer, or if you prefer saving your anvils for the next round. And I'm not sure if these banners will return again, so don't blame me later if they don't, okay? Poor me. That's the end of today's video. It's already pretty long. See you guys in the next one.